Inside that unmarked box was something unexpected. A collection of letters bound together with red ribbon, a locket with 2 faded portraits, and an old family crest embossed in gold. The letters told a story no one in our family had ever mentioned. A story of betrayal, exile, and lost identity. Apparently, our ancestors hadn't always been the respectable landowners we believed them to be. According to the letters, in the mid-1800s, our great-great-grandfather, William Harcourt, had been accused of conspiring with a rival family to seize property and falsify ownership documents. When the plot was exposed, he was stripped of his title and forced to flee England. He changed his name and started over in a new country, our country. But here's where it got interesting. The last few letters were written not by William, but by someone named Elizabeth, who referred to him as brother. She mentioned a hidden artifact, a symbol of their family's honor, that he smuggled out before fleeing. It was said to contain the truth that could restore their name, should the rightful heir ever seek it. Daniel and I exchanged looks. "Do you think it's still here?" he asked. We spent the next several days combing through the secret room, decoding journals and tracing names. Every clue pointed to one location: the family chapel at the edge of the property, which had been locked and abandoned for decades. The lock on the chapel door was rusted, but the brass key turned smoothly, as if waiting all these years. Inside, the air was thick with dust and silence. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass, casting colors across the cracked marble floor. We searched for hours, finding nothing but broken pews and crumbling hymn books, until Daniel noticed something strange near the altar. The stone slab beneath it had fine lines etched into the corners, almost invisible. With some effort, we pried it open, revealing a hollow space beneath. Inside was a metal box, blackened with age. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. We lifted it out carefully, carried it into the light, and opened it. Inside were old documents, sealed in wax, and a small wooden object carved with the same family crest from the letter. But beneath it, wrapped in velvet, was something truly shocking. A journal belonging to Elizabeth Harcourt herself. Her entries painted a vivid picture of their lives before the exile, a family torn apart by greed and deceit. She wrote about how her brother William took the blame to protect the rest of the family, and how she vowed to preserve the truth for future generations. The last entry read, "If my descendants ever find this, know that our family's honor was not lost. It was hidden. The legacy is not in wealth, but in truth. The bloodline that survives must remember." I sat there in silence, the journal heavy in my hands. For the first time, I understood what my great-grandfather's letter meant. The fortune wasn't money. It was knowledge. The restoration of our true name and history. When I told my siblings about the discovery, they didn't believe me at first. But once I showed them the documents and photos, their skepticism turned into awe. We reached out to a historian who confirmed the authenticity of the letters, and traced the Harcourt family lineage back to records in England that had been marked discontinued after William's exile. Our family name, once erased, was real. And for the first time in over a century, it could be restored. But the story didn't end there. While clearing out the last of the items in the secret room, I found one final note taped under the desk, written in my father's handwriting. "I knew you'd find this one day. Some truths skip generations, waiting for the right heart to uncover them. I didn't open the room because I wasn't ready to face it, but I knew you would be. The house chose right." That broke me. My father had known about the room, maybe even the secret, but chose to wait until someone could understand what it truly meant. I decided to keep the house, not as a museum, but as a living archive. I restored the secret room, cataloged every document, and created an online database to share our family's rediscovered history with the world. What was once a symbol of decay had become a monument of truth. Sometimes, when I walk through those halls, I swear I can feel their presence, the ones who came before me. The silence isn't heavy anymore. It's comforting, like the house itself is finally at peace. The ancestral home didn't just reveal hidden rooms, it revealed hidden heritage, forgiveness, and the strength that runs through generations. And whenever I pass the sealed door that once led to darkness, I touch the old brass key and whisper, "Thank you for trusting me with your truth." Because now, I finally understand what my father meant. This house has seen more than any of us ever will. And now, so have I. I grew up in a house that felt older than time itself, a grand ancestral home that had been in my family for generations. The walls whispered secrets, the floors creaked like they carried memories, and every room seemed to hold a story that no one dared to tell. My father used to say, "This house has seen more than any of us ever will." At the time, I thought it was just a poetic way of saying it was old. But years later, I would learn that he meant it literally. There was something hidden inside those walls. Something that changed everything I thought I knew about my family's history. It all began when my father passed away. The house was left to me, the youngest child, the one who'd moved away and barely returned. My siblings wanted nothing to do with it. "Too much work," they said. "Sell it, and we'll split the money." But something inside me couldn't let go. Maybe it was nostalgia, maybe guilt. But I decided to move back for a while, just to get things in order. The place was massive. 3 stories, ivy climbing the stone facade, stained glass windows, and a sprawling garden that had long since been claimed by weeds. The air inside smelled of wood, dust, and faint traces of my childhood. My mother's perfume, the old books in the library, the faint echo of laughter from long ago. The first few nights were unsettling. The house made strange noises. Doors would creak open, even when locked. Once, I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, like someone pacing. But when I opened the door, no one was there. On the 3rd day, while cleaning out the attic, I found something odd. Behind a stack of old trunks was a wall that didn't quite match the rest. The wallpaper pattern was slightly off, and when I tapped it, the sound was hollow. I leaned closer and noticed a faint line running down the middle, almost like a doorframe. I called my best friend Daniel, who happened to be an architect. He came over the next day with his tools, more curious than concerned. "You sure you're not imagining things?" he joked as he ran a stud finder across the wall. But then the device beeped. "There's definitely space behind this." We worked for hours, removing layers of old wallpaper and prying loose a few planks until we found the outline of a hidden door, sealed shut from the outside. My hands were shaking as we chipped away the edges, and finally the wall gave way, revealing a small, dark passage. A gust of cold air rushed out, carrying with it the smell of dust and something older. We aimed our flashlights inside and saw a narrow staircase leading downward, much deeper than the house's foundation should have allowed. "This wasn't on the original blueprints," Daniel murmured. We descended slowly, each step echoing into the dark. The air grew colder and heavier, until we reached a wooden door at the bottom. The hinges groaned as I pushed it open, revealing a small room lit faintly by sunlight filtering through cracks in the wall. Inside were shelves, rows of them, filled with books, journals, and old photographs. In the center stood a massive oak desk covered in dust. On it lay a single object, a brass key and a sealed envelope with my great-grandfather's name on it. The letter was dated 1927. My hands trembled as I opened it. "To my descendants, if you are reading this, then time has done what it always does. Bury truth beneath years of silence. What lies here is not just memory, but responsibility. Our family's fortune and shame are tied together in this house. The truth must be revealed by one who seeks it, not one who profits from it. The key opens what I could not destroy." I looked at Daniel, who raised an eyebrow. "What do you think it means?" We searched the room for any sign of a lock. Eventually, I noticed a chest tucked beneath the desk, covered in dust and cobwebs. The brass key fit perfectly. Inside were dozens of smaller boxes, each labeled with a name, and each name was a member of my family tree. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, even my father. One box, however, was unmarked.